All right, 6:31. Why don't we go ahead and start? And if anyone hops on, they'll be muted and can just hop in as they please. So thanks for joining. Go ahead and find yourself in a nice, comfortable seated position. So there's always the option to sit cross-legged. And then there's also always the option to sit back on the heels. And if you have a block, hi there. You can always.
Hi, Meg.
Hi, thanks for joining. So whatever way feels comfortable for you to be seated, go ahead and have a seat. And we'll, of course, tap into our breath and allow yourself to just kind of melt and land here. So whatever has been going on throughout the day or through the beginning of the week, see if you can give yourself permission to sort of set that aside and allow this time for you on your yoga mat to be yours. And so we'll take full deep breaths in through the nose. And slow, long exhales out through the mouth. Notice how your body is already beginning to kind of calm down a bit, even after one mindful, intentional breath. And so keep with that nice, steady breath. And of course, right now, and then the challenge is to see if you can keep it throughout the practice. So even in a more challenging pose, or if you're feeling a little frustrated or overwhelmed, knowing that you can always come back to the breath and even a seated position to kind of gather yourself. So let's take 3 more breaths in, your breath, your pace. And if you have any intention that you would like to set for your practice, go ahead and do that. And then after that 3rd breath, gently open the eyes up. And we'll start by taking some twist and turn. So I always like to return back to sitting cross-legged before we come into some stretches. So let's inhale and sweep the arms up nice and high. And then pause here, really reach the fingertips up. See if the shoulders can relax a bit and feel some length happening in the side body. So again, inhale, reach up. And then exhale, palms face down and bring the arms down towards the ground. And we're really engaged through the arms. So we'll do that again, like a big full breath in, reach through the fingertips. Engaging through the arms, sweeping those arms up high towards the ceiling. Maybe you even bring your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, like you're pressing through water. So with intention, mindful movement, and the palms come back down to the ground. And heck, let's just do it one more time. Big full breath in. And then on your exhale, bring the arms down, palms face down. And we'll go ahead and leave this right hand on the mat. Big inhale, sweep that left arm up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, float and stretch over towards your right. And the gaze can float up towards the ceiling. Notice how that lets the heart open and lift a little bit. Deeper stretch, drop down onto that right elbow and forearm if that feels all right. And then float your way back through center, no rush in yoga. Big inhale, sweep the right arm up nice and high. Lengthen on the inhale. And exhale, reach over towards your left. And then notice if you can go a bit deeper, feeling more of a stretch if you drop down to the forearm. Really reaching through those right fingertips. And another breath in. And exhale, come back through center and go to the other side again. Big inhale, reach up. And exhale, reach. We'll stay for one more breath, inhale. And then on the exhale, float back through center and go to the other side. Big inhale, reach up. And exhale, reach. Stay for one breath, inhale. And exhale, let it go. Come back through center, roll the shoulders out. And we'll inhale, sweep the arms up nice and high. Hug that belly button in towards the spine, and then as you exhale, feel a nice twist through the spine and twist towards the right. Like there's a string attached to the top of your head, lifting up towards the ceiling. We're not forcing anything with this left hand on the right knee. Exhale, come back through center and use the inhale, sweep the arms up nice and high. And then exhale, twist. So this left hand can support you by being down on the floor. And stay for another breath. And exhale, come back to center. Inhale, sweep the arms up nice and high. And as we get to the top, let's interlace the fingertips and then press the palms up towards the ceiling. We're getting a nice stretch through the hands, engaging through the arms, and hopefully feeling a nice stretch through the side body here on the right and left sides of the stomach, so on each side of the ribs. Inhale. And then as you exhale, tuck the chin a bit, curl the spine, kind of like you're coming into cat pose if we were in tabletop, and the palms are pressing forward. Back of the neck is nice and long, so the shoulder blades are pulling away from the spine. Inhale, press the palms up towards the ceiling, nice stretch. And exhale, come into that pose again. So you're curling in the spine. Chin is tucking towards the chest and you're pressing the palms forward. Inhale, lift the arms up nice and high. Maybe you gaze up. As you exhale, bend the elbows, get a nice opening through the front body and bring the palms to the base of the skull. And of course, if this is not feeling okay on your neck, elbows, shoulders, or anything, know that you can take any modification that you'd like so that you're safe. And then the option from here, if it feels all right, gazing up towards the ceiling. So maybe feeling a nice stretch through our pec muscles in this pose. And exhale, let it go. Lower the arms down and warm the neck up if you'd like. So taking the ear to the shoulder. And then maybe even tilting the head back a bit, where the chin lifts up towards the ceiling. And then slowly maybe tucking the chin a bit. And then any other movements you'd like to do, we'll come into tabletop and downward facing dog. So any little wrist rolls you'd like to take to warm those hands up. Okay, hopefully we're feeling good and relaxed and ready to move. So let's find our way into child's pose. Child's pose, the glorious resting pose in home base. We're sending our hips back towards our heels, relaxing through the knees, reaching the fingertips forward, fingertips spread nice and wide, and let your heart center drop down towards the mat. So the forehead should be resting on your mat or a yoga block. If you don't have either of those, stack hand over hand, and that way your forehead is in contact with something. And then from here, we sort of just drop in. So notice if there's anywhere you can relax a bit or let go of any sort of tension. And from here, feel okay with just enjoying the process of yoga and not so much focusing on the goal. And from here, find your way up to your tabletop position. And so scoot the knees in a little bit closer so they're about hips width distance apart. And the shoulders are right over the wrists, but for now we're just kind of warming up and coming into some nice circles and sort of just feeling these kind of like some hidden corners of the body. So take some nice movements here. Stay soft through the elbows. Fingertips are spread nice and wide. And we're just breathing and moving. All right, and when you're feeling good, we'll come to a neutral tabletop. So with that, we want our fingertips really spread wide, and we want to be pressing into the finger pads, engaging through the arms, almost like we're pressing the earth away from us. And this is kind of the same setup that we want in a high plank as well. We're gazing between the two hands, so the back of the neck is long. We're hugging the belly button in towards the spine. So from here, we're already using our core. And we'll start by reaching the right foot behind us. So flex the foot and press through that right heel. So you're really engaging the leg. And for more of a challenge, you can go ahead and continue and lift the left arm forward with the thumb face up towards the ceiling. And now we're really grounding down through this left knee and through the right hand. So still pressing the earth away from us. Take a breath in. And on the exhale, curl in your spine and work elbow towards knee. Tuck the chin a little bit, squeeze in to become small for 3, 2, and 1. Release and kick out. Take a breath in. And exhale, lower back down, tabletop position. Some small movements here before we go to the other side. Neutral tabletop position. Kick the left foot back behind you so the toes are face down towards the ground. You're pressing through this back heel. And from here, if you're feeling nice and stable and balanced, go ahead and reach the right arm forward. So it's like you're reaching through your right ring finger in that left back heel, and you've just got this nice straight line of energy. Back of the neck is nice and long. Using the core, take a breath in. And then exhale, bring in elbow to knee. Curl in your spine, just like we did at the beginning. Tuck the chin towards the chest for 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, kick and reach out, lengthen, breathe in. And exhale, lower back down, tabletop position. All right, nice. So now let's go ahead and slide this right foot forward. So the left knee is staying down. And adjust yourself here. I like to scoop my left knee back a little bit. So my right knee is right over the right ankle, and I'm gonna walk my right foot in towards the center of the mat. I've got a hand on either side of the foot here. Let's leave the left arm down and float. Inhale, twist, the right arm up to the ceiling. And exhale, lower that arm down. And then with your breath, keep moving. Inhale, reach up on this side. Exhale, lower down. And again, inhale, reach. Exhale, lower down. And it doesn't have to be big and huge. It just has to feel good. And exhale, both hands back down on the mat. Let's come into our runner stretch. Start straightening through your front knee. Flex the toes towards your face. Then see how it's feeling on the hamstring. So the hamstring's feeling tight. Have a little bend in the knee and don't be coming forward so much. So maybe staying a bit more lifted and tall through the spine. And as you're moving through, just noticing how you feel. Start to bend the right knee, place the foot on the floor. And let's bring both hands to the top of the right knee. And now the upper body's lifting up, so you've got this nice stretch through the left quadricep, through the hip and side body. And you can almost press into the hands and the knees a little bit and sort of lean back. So here's an option for a little back bend, a nice spot for the collarbone to be wide and the heart to open. We're almost surrendering into this left hip. And placing the right hand on the mat, we'll take a side stretch. So inhale, reach the left arm up. And then exhale as you reach over towards your right. Option to begin to gaze up at the ceiling. And exhale, lower that arm back down. Place the hands down on the mat and let's slide this right foot back. And let's drop into child's pose for just a couple breaths. And then in your time, pressing your way back up to your tabletop position. And slide that left foot forward to the front of the mat. And you've got a hand on either side of the foot. And then adjust the back knee as needed. So adjusting that knee so that your hip is comfortable and you're feeling stable and balanced. The left toes are facing forward. The knee is right over the ankle. Let's leave this right arm down on the mat. Use an inhale, sweep and reach up. And exhale, lower down and use your breath and go ahead and do that. And it's not always about how far can you reach or how deep can you go. It's also about what you kind of learn on the way as you move and stretch through. And this will be our last time with the left hand down, reaching the right arm up. Awesome. Exhale, lower down. Both hands are on the mat. Shift into your runner's stretch. Send the hips to the back edge of the mat. Start straightening through that front leg. Toes flex towards the face. Start bending through the left knee. Place the foot on the mat. And then really press down whatever's connected to the ground, so the foot and the knee. And let's bring the hands to the top of the left knee. And so from here, we're hugging energy up and in. The heart is lifting, opportunity to kind of feel a nice little back bend here. And as you do that, you've got a nice opportunity to melt and surrender in this hip, kind of letting go and sinking in. If you're noticing the breath either maybe getting a little choppy or stuck, know that you can just come back to a nice steady breath. Big inhales and long exhales. If you want, place the left hand down on the floor of the mat. We'll inhale, reach the right arm up nice and high. And exhale, reach over towards the left. And lowering that arm back down. And now both hands are on the mat. And slide that left knee back, tabletop position. If you'd like to take child's pose, go ahead and do that. Or if you like some nice movement in your tabletop, and something that might feel nice here is kind of coming into a little modified upward facing dog. So the knees are down and start to sink the hips a bit. Bend in the elbows. And the feet are maybe hips width distance apart, maybe a little bit more. And you're bending through the elbows and just kind of softly moving. And now bend the elbows and lower all the way down. So your chin or forehead is resting on the mat, and we'll come into a cobra pose, so a modified upward facing dog. So the elbows are bent and they're hugging in towards the ribs, and creep the hands up so they are, fingertips are spread nice and wide and they're right about under the shoulders. And so as you inhale, use the upper back muscles and lift the heart up. And so we're not cranking the neck and looking up at the ceiling. We're kind of just gazing a few inches in front of us. And the hands can either stay on the mat, or to really see how much the back is working, just gently lift the palms away from the mat. Squeeze the elbows in towards the ribs. And keep breathing. Another breath. Exhale, lower down. Rest your cheek on the mat. And let's do that one more time. So spin your chin or forehead down towards the mat. Hands are about right underneath the shoulders. Squeeze the elbows in, and then as you inhale, peel and lift up. So from here, we're kind of pressing into the tops of our feet a little bit, pressing into the hip bones. As you inhale, can the heart lift just a little bit higher? Inhale. And exhale, lower down. Maybe you rest the other cheek down. And from here, let's bring our arms out wide to a T position, sort of. So they're out, reaching far away from the mat, and bend the knees. And then just rock your feet from side to side. And this should feel nice on the low back. If it does, if it doesn't, don't do it, or maybe try it a bit slower. Windshield wipering the legs. All right, place the tops of the feet back down on the floor. And let's bring the hands under the shoulders, and we'll press up to a high plank. You can leave the knees down. For a modified high plank, or if you'd like, lift the knees so the backs of the legs are lifting up towards the ceiling. The core is nice and engaged. And from here, as you inhale, shift your body weight forward and your tippy toes a bit. So now the shoulders are a little bit over the wrists, and then back. So maybe try that a few times. Feel the fingertips, feel the core, feel the engagement through the legs. And then go ahead and drop the knees, sink the hips. Press back to your tabletop, and then let's shift right into downward facing dog. So from here, creep the hands forward just a bit, bend those knees and lift the hips up nice and high. Pedal the feet out. Hands and feet hips width distance apart. Let the neck go. Maybe you look under the right armpit, look under the left armpit. So the goal is here to be working our heels down towards the mat. We're really engaging through the arms because we don't want a lot of weight in our wrists. We want to protect our wrists. And the tailbone and hips are lifting up nice and high. And I like to keep a little bend through my knees. And then ever so slowly, let's start walking the feet up to the top edge of our mat. We'll come into ragdoll forward fold. So really grounding down at all four corners of the feet, hips width distance apart and they're parallel. Bend the knees and grab opposite elbows. And so we've got a nice little soft bend in the knees. So for tight hamstrings, definitely bend the knees a bit more for any low back pain. And gently release the hands down to the mat. And let's inhale to a halfway lift. So now like the string is pulling forward maybe to a wall in front of you. The hands are to the shins. And like the back is so flat, if there was a glass of water on the spine, it would stay still. Shoulders are pulling away from the ears. And next exhale, fold forward. And again, inhale, lift halfway. Let the heart pull forward, collarbone nice and wide. Exhale, fold. And one more time, inhale, lift halfway so that hips are pulling back, top of the head is pulling forward along with the heart. And exhale, fold. Place the hands down on the mat and step the left foot back, and we'll come into a crescent lunge. So for crescent lunge, our back heel is lifted and all 10 toes are facing forward. It's kind of like that high runner's lunge. And creep your right foot forward so the heel is underneath the knee. You can always drop the back knee here on the floor. Okay, right toes facing directly forward, energy hugging up and in. If you feel okay, lift the arms up towards the ceiling. And then from here, press into that right foot and start to straighten through the front leg. See how that feels. And then exhale, crescent lunge. So if you've got the back knee down, go ahead and lift it, and we'll transition into warrior two. So on your next exhale, go ahead and spin the back heel down and open up the chest and hips and the arms. And adjust your feet here. So we want this front foot, the front heel, to be almost right in line with the middle of our back foot. We're really pressing through this outer edge of the left foot. If you notice this knee is knocking in towards the middle, we want to protect our knee. So keep working the knee out towards the pinky edge side of that right foot. And then one time, inhale, press into that front foot, straighten the leg, bring the arms up overhead. And then exhale, warrior two. Inhale, flip the front palm and revolve. So as we revolve, we stay low in the front leg, really grounding down through that foot. Nice side body stretch. And come into a side angle. So let the right elbow rest on the right thigh. Right ribs rotate under the left and reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. And we're not just hanging out here for the fun of it. I mean, we are, but really see if you can bring intention into your reaches and your poses and the movements. So those left fingertips, spread them nice and wide as they reach up high towards the ceiling. And then floating back into our warrior two, and then use an inhale, flip and revolve. And we'll come into a deepest lunge. So for deepest lunge, come onto the ball of the back foot and work both hands down towards the mat and start walking the right foot out to the right edge. And then lower the back knee down. And for a deeper stretch here, drop down onto the forearms, or maybe you stay lifted through the fingertips. Hugging that right knee into the right shoulder. And then if you're on the forearms, come back up to your hands. And let's bring the right knee back and we'll meet in tabletop. Any little movements here, and then when you feel ready, let's come into downward facing dog. Spread those fingertips nice and wide, lift the hips up. And a big breath in. Big exhale out. All right, let's walk our feet up towards the front of the mat. We'll come into another forward fold. You're welcome to take any forward fold that you'd like. If you'd like to take monkey pose, peace fingers, grab the big toes, palms face in towards one another. Maybe you take a baby halfway lift like this with the back of the neck long. Then as you exhale, use the arms and pull the chest down towards the ground, the top of the head as well. And of course, nice little bend through the knees. And then releasing the hands. We want to step back to come into a crescent lunge on the left. So stepping that right foot back, so maybe the hands are on the ground here to support you. And to be more balanced, you can act like the feet are sort of on train tracks, so you've got some separation there. Left toes facing directly forward. Back leg is mostly nice and straight, really strong and active. You're pressing through the back right heel, melting into this front leg. And then when you're ready, arms reach up. Big inhale, breathe. And then exhale, open to your warrior two. And now if your feet were pretty separated in your crescent lunge, walk that left foot in so that left heel is in line with the back of the right foot, pressing into the pinky side of the right foot. Now we're reaching through our ring fingers, like really lengthening, and the gaze is over the front middle finger. Inhale, press through this front foot, work on straightening through that front leg, and bring the arms up overhead. And then as you exhale, melt into your warrior two. Check in with yourself. Make sure the shoulders are right over the hips so we're not reaching too far forward or reaching too far back. We're kind of plopped right nicely in the middle. Inhale, flip the front palm, revolve, and reach up and back. And then a nice big exhale, come into a side angle. So we're melting into the hips, we're pressing through the front foot and heel, and the right arm reaching up towards the ceiling. If you ever lose yourself, I always like to just feel my feet, maybe wiggle the toes a little bit, really feel connected down. And then shifting back to your warrior two, hug the energy up and in. Inhale, reverse your warrior. We'll float into our deepest lunge. So both hands are going to come down to the inside of the left foot, spin onto the ball of the back foot, walk this left foot out to the edge of the mat, and drop the right knee down. And it's definitely super common for the sides to feel different here. So deepest lunge on one side won't always feel the same on the other side. Again, option to drop down to your forearms. And you do always have the option to remain still in a pose. And you've always got the option to kind of move and float around and see how you're feeling. And if you're on the forearms, go ahead and press up to the hands. And we'll slide this left knee back to tabletop. And from here, let's sit back on our heels. So you can come onto the tops of your feet, or you can leave the toes tucked to get kind of a nice stretch through the backs of the feet. So the knees are working towards being together. Spine is lengthening up towards the ceiling. This is called hero's pose. So if you've got something still in front of you that you can focus on, or maybe you close your eyes, kind of like a nice recharge pose. Notice if the grip through the fingertips is tense or tight. Maybe you lift the fingers up and then just gently let them fall back down. And then from here, place the hands down on the ground, and I would like to come into a squat. So for a squat, maybe the knees come to the edges of the mat into a deep squat, and you've got the toes at maybe 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and you can leave the hands on the ground here, and you're welcome to bring hands to heart center. Kind of use the elbows to press against the inner thighs a bit for a deeper stretch, or it can be a bit more fluid than that. So leaving the hands on the ground and maybe just rocking from side to side. And then maybe you creep the arms and hands back. And then let's go ahead and lower down onto our bottom. Leave the knees bent, kind of walk the feet forward a bit, and we'll rock the knees from side to side. Okay. And let's go ahead and put the legs out nice and long, and then use your hands to kind of prop yourself up so you can sit up nice and tall, and we'll come into seated forward fold. So inhale, reach up. And then exhale, reach for the toes. And if the hands aren't getting there, go ahead and support yourself with fingertips on the mat. Back of the neck nice and long, maybe you're gazing at your knees. And then rising back up, come into a seated tree pose. So start bending the right knee, right sole of the foot into the left thigh. Let the heart lift up, roll the shoulders back, and we'll reach for the left foot. Inhale. And exhale, fold and reach. So almost like you're working nose towards the left knee. And then leaving the legs as they are, let the upper body lift. And we'll just take a twist over towards the right. So put the right hand down on the floor for support, left hand to the right knee. Sit up nice and tall, nice big breath in. And then back to center. Switch your sides, so now the right leg is out nice and long. Bend that left knee in. Use a nice inhale to lengthen and lift up. And exhale, reach for the right toes. And then use your fingertips, let the upper body lift back up, leave the legs as they are, and come into that nice twist. So the left hand to the floor behind you a bit, right hand to the left knee. And as you exhale, twist. And floating back to center. Why don't we go ahead and lay down? So lie down on your back. And then maybe from here, go ahead and just hug the knees in towards the chest. And as you do that, kind of pressing the lower back down into the mat. So maybe the hands wrap at the shins. And transitioning right into waterfall. So we do that just by lifting the feet straight up to the ceiling, and you can always take this legs up against the wall. So by moving yourself up and letting the wall kind of hold the legs up. And start to bend the knees, lower the feet to the floor. And we'll come into pigeon pose laying down on our back. So bend the right knee, bring the right ankle to the top of the left thigh. And you've always got the option to take this sitting up as well. And when that feels okay, if it does, you can bring the left thigh forward and interlace the fingertips around the left hamstring and kind of pull it forward to feel more of a stretch through the right glute. And you're welcome to stay here. If you'd like to come right into half happy baby, so we do that by extending the left leg long on the floor. The hand is coming to the bottom of the right foot, and the knee is bending in towards the armpit. And when you feel all set with that, go ahead and just lower both legs down on the floor. And then bend the knees and bring the feet to the mat. And we'll go to the other side. So bending through the, both knees, but bring the left ankle to the right thigh. And then if you'd like, pull that right leg closer into you, hands interlace at the hamstring. And for more of a stretch, you can actually interlace at the right shin. And then you're welcome to stay in pigeon pose or transition into that half happy baby. So extending the right leg long on the mat, the left hand comes to the sole of the left foot, bending the left knee into the left armpit. And as the sole of the left foot is pressing into the left hand, those left fingertips are pressing back down onto the sole of the foot. And nice big exhale. Whatever pose you're in, go ahead and let it go and kind of wiggle around if you'd like to take a nice full body stretch before we end our practice. Go ahead and take it. We'll come into our final resting pose. So we'll stay here for a minute. Find yourself feeling nice and comfortable. And invitation to just completely let go, close the eyes, and just breathe. Start to bring some very small, tiny, gentle movements back. And then with that same breathing technique, big inhales through the nose, nice and long. Then open the mouth, slow exhale out. And then maybe moving the fingertips and rocking the neck from side to side. We'll find our way up to a seated position. Sitting cross-legged if that's comfortable, and we'll close up with a nice final stretch. So hopefully everyone feels nice and good and relaxed. Inhale, sweep the arms up nice and high, reach through those fingertips. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Go ahead and press the palms together and bring the thumb knuckles sort of to the sternum and tuck the chin a bit. And as you're here, express maybe gratitude towards yourself for showing up and practicing. And I thank you all for joining and letting me practice with you guys. Namaste. So thank you for being here. I'll be teaching again next Monday and Tuesday, and then until mid-June. So let me know if you have any questions, and thank you.